Okay, we are live. It is showing up in the top corner. And
And one of y'all have to hit the button. Tuck our guest away.
okay, let me do that. I can do that. Okay.
There you
I've
go.
never done that before. Something new for me. Okay.
Usually Ruth hits that button quick. What happened, Ruth?
I usually don't hit that button.
Who hits the button? Must be Alan.
Alan.
Maybe Alan. Okay. Well, Alan's trying to
He's probably
audition
still
for
thinking
his
about that joke.
career. So maybe that's what happened with Alan
He was,
tonight. Oh, let's see. I'm going to start with weekend review, and then we're going to go over to Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria just has makeup and bedazzled tonight.
Oh,
She's
thank
just
you.
in her beauty zone tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And then we're gonna let Miss Ruth do her weekend review. We got a great guest tonight. I like her. I like her. We've had an opportunity to meet her a little bit ago, and I look forward to us being able to talk to her and talk to her about her book tonight. That's exciting.
hmm
That's exciting. And ooh, we got a lot. We got stuff lined up for next week. Next week is an exciting week. We're going to talk about. Well, I'm not going to talk about what we're going to talk about. I'll wait until we fully
Talk
get
about it.
the
Yeah.
air and do that. So I think we're about ready to shift over. Alan, if you're there, you can. And if not,
All
we
right, everybody, it's that time. And yes, I thought it was a good joke. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
all righty. Well, welcome everybody and good evening. You have joined Authors Up right here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. And I am here with two very lovely ladies tonight, Miss
Thank you.
Ruth Griffin and Miss Victoria Henderson. Good evening, ladies. How are you tonight?
Hello.
Good, good. How are
Hello.
you?
Okay.
I'm well. I am well. I'm well. I love Victoria's little wavy thing she's got going on there tonight. But I'm looking forward to tonight. We've got a great guest, got a great book. And
Do.
I'm really excited to be able to share with everybody. But let's go ahead. We're going to get started tonight with our weekend review. I get to go first this evening. Hey, Minister Angie, how are you? Glad to have you in the house tonight. And there's Miss Linda Cooks. Glad to have her in the house tonight as well. And Alan, if we get any countries to come in, be sure to put them up for us so that we can formally welcome them to the fun here on Authors Up. Let's see. Okay, we can we can review. I I did something that I absolutely hate to do. I
Uh-oh.
was in cleaning mode.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm with you on that. You don't even have to say anymore. I'm with you.
Cleaning mode. I have this thing where I think I'm going to set up the studio in my basement. So I had
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of stuff down there that I needed to get rid of. So it is all tagged and waiting for the folks to tell me when they're going to come and move it along. I'm ready for that. Hey, Pastor Leah, glad to have you in the house tonight. Good to have you. Good to have you. Yeah, so I did that. I took care of that. I did some writing stuff. I didn't have a really eventful week in terms of a lot of stuff I had to do. Working on the two events coming up, so that's taken up a lot of time. And that really that's about it for me. I didn't do any I didn't do any great and wonderful things. That's about it. Planning some travel, so that's always fun,
Yeah.
and that's always fun. So that clears my list. What
Where you
about you,
going?
Are
Victoria?
you?
I'm
What do
gonna say, where you going?
I'm gonna go out to Vegas again in
Okay.
summertime. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
We got to talk about our trip, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
We
right. We got
do.
to put that on the calendar.
Did we say when that was gonna be? Hello there, Ada. I hope I'm saying your name right. Welcome to Authors Up tonight. Do we know when we're going?
We
I
haven't.
thought it was in May
Oh, yeah.
Oh, May.
or
Oh,
June.
Or
May or
June.
June.
all righty. Yeah, we'll have to check that calendar.
Well, my week was it was a little tough with work. Just a little bit. One of my coworkers was out, and just struggling a little bit, kind of covering her stuff. But we made it do what it do. But the highlight of the weekend was got to spend a little time with a few of the church sisters at Healing Waters, which I'm part of with Ruth. And we went over to another sister's house, and we just sat and talked. And we had dessert and coffee, and it was just really nice to sit and not come together for a meeting. We just came together as friends just to support each other and talk. And it was really just really nice and relaxing. And you know how we get, we could talk for hours, but we had to eventually leave her house. So that was really nice. And I think that that was one of the things that we should always take time to do. Today they call, Sundays a self care Sunday. And that's one of the things. Spend time with friends, check out away from the technology and just be. And we were just being a little while yesterday. So it was really nice.
Mm,
I
That's
enjoyed it.
good.
it was nice. It was nice.
Good. That's
So
good.
that is about it for me. Looking forward to whatever the new week has. Come on, let's go. New week, new opportunities.
And welcome to Juanita Woodson. Juanita,
Hmm.
thank you for joining Authors Up tonight. Glad to have you in the house. And Miss Ruth, what were you up to last week?
A whole lot of work. Just mostly work. Um, and more work. So
Okay.
I'm trying to stick to 40 hours a week. Which
Good.
is, yeah, good. Try not to stress myself out, which is even better. Um, but it is what it is. Um, Not retiring anytime soon. So I've got to learn how to balance that. But, and it's just, I sit there, do the work, but at the same time, my brain is also working on, all the other projects that I'm working on. So, I'm publishing. I've got, I think, like one, two, three, four books that I'm working on or will be working on publishing. My The book that I'm working on writing, that one's slowly coming along. However, and I can't share the idea just yet, but it is growing. It is growing every week. So,
Good for
um,
you.
just how big it's gonna be, and again, I don't wanna sit here and go, "Oh, I don't wanna share any ideas," but you guys go back and listen to our little writing challenge from last year. You'll get an idea of what the story is about,
Mhm.
Wow.
um,
Yeah.
really, and how big it's gonna be. So, I'm
Wow.
excited about that.
Mhm.
Um, really, and aside, weekend ended on a great note with, our little coffee and dessert thing yesterday. So it's been a good week all together.
Yes.
Very
Mm.
good. Very good.
Yes. And I don't want to embarrass my daughter's boyfriend, but apparently he got the thumbs up from my other daughter. So just, if you
Oh,
listen from last week,
He
not in
did.
trying to embarrass anybody. They went on spring break together, them and a bunch of friends, and she gave her thumbs up. So
that's
Wait a minute.
nice.
Wait, stop. He listened to the show?
no, but just in
Oh, oh,
case,
oh, oh,
just in case. I'm not
okay.
trying to embarrass anyone.
I was gonna say what? He really got my thumbs. He got both my thumbs.
So yeah, just you
Awesome.
can go back and listen to the previous show, but for the rest of that story. But so far, he's got the whole family thumbs up. So
All
I
right. He seemed
pretty
like
good
a
deal.
nice young man.
Yeah.
That's good. And
Good.
speaking of nice people, we have a nice person that
Hmm.
we are getting ready to introduce to you in
Yes.
just a few minutes. So, Victoria, why don't you tell us a little bit about our guest for tonight?
Right. All right. Wendy Eugene holds a BS degree in telecommunications from Kent State University, was a captain in the Army Reserves for 14 years, and is a certified peer specialist in mental health. Wendy resides in Savannah, Georgia with her husband of 34 years, Dr. Kenneth Eugene. She has 4 adult children and 6 grandchildren. Wendy is also a peer mentor with the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network, contracted to Georgia Regional Hospital in Savannah as well. When she is not working, she enjoys time with family, volunteering in her church, Kingdom Life Christian Fellowship, jazz music, and attending theater, especially in New York. She is a connoisseur of purses and shoes and makes a mean pot of red beans and rice.
We already
Well,
like her.
yeah. Well, after this short break, you guys will get a chance to meet Wendy Eugene, who has a phenomenal story to tell and decided to tell it through her autobiographical book, Who's Having More Fun Than Me? So, everybody get comfortable, and we'll be right back.
All right, all right.
That was impressive.
Woohoo! Hello, Wendy.
Welcome.
Thank,
Welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you.
thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. So I usually
Hey,
start by asking,
Mama.
hey, um, so I usually start by asking about the book, but I want to start with well, I want you to tell us about the book, but I need you to include the title. What, who came up with that title as you
Well, now,
explain it?
well, that's a story. Um, I'm the oldest of three,
Hmm.
and my brother, who the oldest of the brothers that I have, um, lives in New York, and whenever I would call him up and let him know that all of these things that were happening to me during the course of my diagnosis, after I received my diagnosis of MS, he kept saying over and over again, "Well, I don't know anybody who's had more fun than you." And every time he kept saying it, and I was like, okay, there must be a reason. So finally it stuck. And then everyone kept saying, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. Well, I don't have any experience writing a book. And obviously, this is the first book I've ever written.
Hmm.
And so I said, okay. I started writing down everything that happened, all of the falls, all of the accidents, my
Hmm.
depression, um, anger, denial, the 7 stages of grief, and I just started writing. Um, and God just enabled me to write everything down.
Mhm.
And so I wrote it down and kept coming and it kept coming and it kept coming. And I kept writing and I kept writing and it's set in a drawer from like 2005. It's set in a drawer.
Okay.
Um, and I took it from, God speaking, people ministering, prophesying. And it wasn't until, December of 2021, um, it had been prophesied at a previous church
Mhm.
that I was at, the Seed, and um, it's still set in the roar. And it wasn't until 2021 and Christian Kingdom Life Christian Fellowship where the pastor prophesied again, but he took it a little further and said that people would come across my path that would do the work basically and put people in my path that would, help me.
Mhm.
And come to find out, his sister edited it, and we interviewed publishers, and one of the publishers, Grace for Purpose with Juanita Woodson, published it, and it went from there. But that basically is how it started. And the book is just that. It's a autobiographical, inspirational book to talk about my trials and my tribulations and everything that our family has gone through
Mhm.
because of a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. But I take it a step further just to be able to say that, you know, God doesn't give us these things that happen to us, but he uses them.
Mhm.
And he uses it to make us stronger, but more importantly, for us to have a testimony.
Amen.
And I wrote it because I want to encourage people that you don't have to stop because you've been given a diagnosis that, as I said in the interview I did, MS wasn't on my bucket list.
Mhm.
But hey, it's here, but I'm not going to let it stop me. And, you know, who's having more fun than me? We travel, we've had setbacks. We've, you know, we have challenges. My
Mhm.
husband said, early on, challenges, we do all the time,
Mhm.
but we
Mhm.
make it work and we travel. And that's what I wanted basically to let people know that, you know, you're gonna fall down, but you need to get up and you need to keep it moving and know that God's going to use these situations to move you forward and
Right.
through. But don't give up and continue to have fun and enjoy the journey.
Amen.
All
Enjoy
right.
the journey. I love that. I love that.
Okay. So I think you answered every question I had. Um, no, I do have to ask though, because even as I was going through your book, the reality of it came through. Especially your anger and just the emotion of the situation. But so did your personality, and so did your sense of humor. You know, that's why I asked about the title because I kind of felt it reflected as much who you are. So, was do you feel that it has um I don't know. I don't. Do you think that it's changed you in that respect? Were you always like that, or?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think I always had a pretty good sense of humor.
Mhm.
Um, I enjoyed life. I enjoyed doing things. I really loved the theater, and
Mhm.
I loved being in community plays. I did it in college. I did it even after, I moved back home after my divorce. I got back
Oh.
involved in it after I went back to working at Kent State. So, all of that, yeah, I think I enjoyed that. And I always enjoyed traveling. So,
Mhm.
I think that when I got the diagnosis and when um, my falling and, all of my other little escapades,
Mhm.
I think I used humor to get through it. It's like
Right.
you can either cry or you can either laugh. And
Mhm.
Yep.
I did cry sometimes, but then it was like I might as well laugh at myself
Mhm.
because it's like that's the only thing that I knew that was going to help get me through it. You know,
Right.
because
Mhm.
I got tired of crying, so I figured, well, I better laugh at myself. So because most of the time, it was pretty funny. Think about it. Going to men's bathrooms and all of that. I mean, that could be pretty funny.
Mhm. Like I said, I enjoyed again, it's understandable the emotional part of it, but I did enjoy the humor in it as well. And I think that is the one thing that stood out, to me because there are a lot of autobiographies out there and sometimes, and you can't fault them, you can't judge them. People just come off as angry and they have a right to be. But
Right.
when humor is involved in it, it helps.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, and I wanted to also indicate that, yeah, I did get angry
Mhm.
and I got mad,
Mhm. Mhm.
and that's real.
Yeah.
I wanted people to understand that it's okay to be mad, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to ask why,
Sure.
but you know, hey, stuff happens, but
Mhm.
get up.
Yep.
Let's move forward. Let's get over it.
Mhm.
And again, laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah.
The word says that. The joy of the Lord is your strength.
Amen.
Indeed.
Find we gotta live. So, and I don't always get it right, but I try. I try. So,
You're not alone in that. So,
Amen.
all right. So was it difficult to write your book when you first wrote it down, or was it just were you able just to put pen to paper and get it out?
a lot of people have asked me that question, and my answer is, well, I know a lot of you all read in the book that my father was an English teacher,
Mhm.
and the other part of that too is that God really did it. And no, people look at me like, what? But he did. I mean, once I started writing, I mean, it flowed. And
Good.
even though it sat in the drawer, it was finished with the
Wow.
exception of, what had happened after,
Mhm.
I wrote it after, everything, I
Sure.
went back and I got, the CPS and, all of the other things that I had done after I had written it and it was sitting in the drawer.
Mhm.
But once I had taken the time to, write down everything, all of the escapades that I had had, it just, God really just really did it. I mean, it really flowed. And, again, you mentioned my humor, and my humor just kind of took over and just was like, okay, let's keep it going.
Mhm.
Um, I don't even remember how long it really took,
Mhm.
but it really just once I got started writing, it just kept going, and God kept. It's like once God gives you something, He gives you everything you need to do to get it done,
Amen.
I
Yes.
and He
like
did
that.
it, and He did it. And
Mhm.
then once the editor, Gwen did it and reworked it, and we did some other things. It was done. And then once Juanita got it, I think she was really patient with me. I kept going back, and it was more grammatical stuff. and working, she was really good. I mean, she was great. She hung in there with me, and I am ever grateful. Um, the the graphic designer was fabulous. I mean, because I had no idea what this whole process was going to be like. But once I said, I want the cover to be fun, I want it to grab people. And the first draft she came back with was like, wow, that's it. And the only
Mhm.
thing I said was, can you put a graphic in there that looks like fun? And the roller coaster was perfect because it's like our life has been like a roller coaster.
Mhm.
And my husband had suggested it. And I was like, well, can you do the roller coaster? And she was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, okay. You know, it like I said, when God gets it, He's got it, and it's the way it's supposed to be.
Amen to that. Amen.
True. So true. So
Uh,
true.
all right, I'm gonna hand you over to Andrea.
Okay, well, before I get started, I want to welcome the Bahamas, the
Yes,
Freeporters
welcome.
online with us tonight. Thank you all for joining. And let's see, I want to also welcome, I think I mentioned Juanita. Ada is on with us, Tracy is on with us, Juanita, Camille. Kathy Harrison is also on with us tonight. So thank you so much for being with us on Authors Up. Ada made a comment too, and she said that you don't use excuses for not completing a task. And I wanted to say to you that it just seemed to me in your book when you were talking about some of the challenges that you had, or sometimes it seemed like some doors were closing for you, that you not only got up and kept going, but you excelled in whatever it was that you decided to do next, which we don't always do. I mean, it's always, and you were making that statement about, you fall, but you got to get back up. And
Mhm.
sometimes the getting back up is a difficult thing, even without the additional challenges that you had to face. So, we applaud you for that. And yes, it is very
Thank
inspirational to hear that story and know that things can happen. Things that we think are impossible can be made possible and can indeed touch other lives in a phenomenal way. So we just really, it is, it's not like, I don't know how to explain it. We read a lot of books, and we have a lot of books, and we're in book clubs, and all manner of other things. But there's something about reading your story. I just felt like I was sitting down talking to a friend, and they were just, telling me about their life. So I just applaud you for the way that it is written, the warmth that it is written with, the honesty, the transparency. I mean, you got it all, lady. It's all in there. It's all in
thank
there.
you so much. I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yes, we did. I actually did have a question, and not really a question, but
Okay.
just something that I wanted you to share, because this is Women's History Month, and we've been talking about, we celebrate different people who have made strides in one thing or another. And I was particularly intrigued with what you put in the book about your mom,
Yes.
and what was happening with her and housing. I remember those days, and I remember the way those calls were made. And I just wanted you to share a little bit about your mom and what she was doing, because she was quite a fighter as well. So I see
Well,
where you get that from.
well, if you remember, I come from a long line of strong African
Yes,
American women,
yes.
and my grandmother started this. My grandmother was a single parent, and she raised my mother and traveled all over the country, working as a single parent. My mother stayed a lot with her sister and her daughters while my mother traveled and worked and went through floods and everything. So that started with Bessie L. Um, but my mother went carried it out as well, and she was also a social worker. Went to Ohio State and got her degree in social work. And when we moved to Akron, and mom and dad decided that they were going to move to, you got to understand, Akron, we lived on one side of Copley Road. And then if you moved to the other side of Copley Road, you were kind of, okay, you were moving up, kind of like the
Mhm.
Jeffersons. But
Mhm.
then if you moved on the other side of Delia, you were really moving up. So they had decided they wanted to move to the other side of Delia. Um, and so at that time, there was this house that my mother wanted. And so daddy, was like, okay. And they went, they looked, and of course, they were told it was under contract. And my mother, and father always promoted volunteerism. And so mom was volunteering at that time at Fair Housing. And when they said it was under contract, mom's like, I don't think so. And immediately knew the rules, knew the law, called Fair Housing. And again, like you said, Andrea, they sent out checkers. And
Yeah.
the house, and the white people went out and found out that the house was not under contract.
Mm.
And, when you know your rights, you know your
Mhm.
rights.
That's it.
And they had to sell us the house. But what
Wow.
was even funnier, after they after they sold the house and we moved in, the neighbors were like, because obviously we were the first blacks on that block, and people were coming up like, "Oh, hello," asking my dad, "Are you a doctor?" My dad said, "No." "Are you a lawyer?" My dad said, "No." And then it was like, well, because at this time I was in high school. And it was like, well, what do you do? And my dad said, I'm a school teacher.
Mm.
We were like, uh,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, my mother was, well, both of them were. My dad was director at Kent State University of Affirmative Action. So
Wow.
also involved with NAACP, the youth group, also with Upward Bound, all of it. So yeah, they've been involved with a lot of that. So I'm a rabble rouser too. So
It's in your blood. You couldn't help it.
you're right. You're right. It is.
And
My mother was,
no excuses for it.
and my mother was involved with was the director of Western Reserve Mental Health. So and now what am I doing? Mental health.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so yeah, it's in my blood.
I tell you, I wanted to. We There are people who make a mark um, in our lives and in our history whose names we never get to know. So I really, really appreciate. And one thing we always say is when you're telling your story, you're not just telling your story, but your story includes the people around you and the
Mhm.
people who have impacted your life in the way that they have made a difference for you. So I really wanted to be able to share your mom with our listeners
Yeah,
tonight because she seems like she was an incredible lady
she,
and
I
to
miss
be
her a
able,
lot. I miss
yeah,
her.
yeah, to be able to share her story within your story. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad that you did that. Glad that you put her in there for yourself and for us.
Mhm.
And that's really, I'm going to go pass you over. I'm going to
Next.
invite Queen Victoria.
Hello.
Hi, Victoria.
Hello.
Ask you some questions now.
Well, first off, I want to say how much I enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
I was reading through it, and and one of the reasons we have this show is because we said everybody has a story to tell,
Mhm.
and nobody can tell the story like the author. And we have read the book, but we still couldn't tell it like you tell it. And it is so nice to have you on the show
Thank
to hear your voice. And now I get to put your voice to the story.
you.
And I'm just smiling. My cheeks hurt because I'm just smiling because it is such a beautiful story. And and I'll be honest, I am in the process of writing my own story and my struggle with fibromyalgia, and now arthritis, which is very very painful. And I'm telling you, your book, I just want you to know, this one person right here, you have touched me with your story. And you have made me understand even more why I have to tell my story.
Mhm.
Because there is somebody who's going to be like me, who doesn't understand all about fibromyalgia and its challenges, and especially us as Black people. Our stories are like this are not told about the diseases. We're told, you keep everything at home, you don't talk about it, right?
Mhm.
And so to have a book like yours and then eventually mine is just phenomenal. And I just thank you. I just thank you. But one thing that really struck out to me, and I had to print it out so I could read it, was when you talked about your struggle with getting the walker. And oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I have a walker and I have had to use it. And I did not understand. It just hit me. I'm just going to read it. You said, I didn't want people to feel sorry for me, but it wasn't the people that would feel sorry for me. It was me. It was me. Well, can you talk about that a little bit? How that made you feel? Because I don't remember the day I got mine, but I do remember how I felt.
Oh wow. Um, it's kind of like with the cane,
Hmm.
you know. It, oh God, you're making me go back.
If it's too much, we can move on.
No, 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 no. It's okay. Um, I fought, as you know, through the book, a lot to not have, like I said, any of these things in my life.
Right.
When I talk about hurting my husband's arm, and not going to go to the wheelchair, but the walker, it meant that I was broken,
Right.
Mm.
that I wasn't well, you know,
Mhm.
that I was disabled, handicapped, that I couldn't do for myself. And, again, people were going to look at me, were going to talk about me, you know, and, I just didn't want to be like that.
Right.
And like I said, I didn't want to have any of that. And that was really hard.
Hmm.
Um, Going through those different stages, you know. Um, and, again, it took a lot.
Right.
Um, yeah, that's how I felt. I felt broken. Like, I'm not, I really can't explain. I'm not whole.
I understand, and y'all know everybody knows I'm a weepy anyway, so y'all know, I get
And I'm
I get
trying
a
to,
little emotional.
keep myself straight. But yeah, I didn't feel whole.
Right. And I really connected with you on that. And that's why I think I've been fighting writing the book too. Because when I didn't want people, and I still don't, when I walk into work, people look at you a little different, you
They,
know. And I walk into work and I got my robe, and then I try to make myself look like I look now, you know. I try to make myself look nice. And when you said that about, you know, am I beautiful for a person with a walker, or am I just beautiful, you know? And so I just thank you for being transparent, for telling your story the way you did. Um, you talk also about, you know, we talked a little bit about the anger and the resentment and going through those stages. And one thing I like, and everybody knows too, I like the victory story. And I like the fact that you didn't stay there. You are now on the other side. And your story and my story will show people that you can get through. And but
Mhm.
then when you come out on the other side, you're in a much better place. So can what would you tell somebody who was just starting their journey?
uh, first of all, I would tell you to not give up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I also would tell you to, if you're not a believer or a follower of Christ, um, to find a church, find a support group,
Mhm.
um, understand your disease or whatever you're dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
um, and also to take care of yourself.
Right.
Um, keep yourself up. You know, be a connoisseur of purses and shoes.
Yes. You
We
gotta have beauty.
wholeheartedly back that one.
Thank
Yes.
you. But I mean, I mean, I am, but whatever it is that makes you happy or
Mhm.
takes you somewhere, don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, but more, like I said, don't quit,
Amen.
Mhm.
because if you quit, you defeated. You
Yeah.
know, um, I find my strength through, God, my church, the God, my family,
Yeah.
my church, my friends, my support group. You know, as they say, my peeps.
That's it.
Um, and again, I get down. I you know, I get, I still get, mad sometimes, but I don't stay there.
Amen.
Mhm.
Amen.
I got to get up. I got to keep moving. Um,
And you have been to therapy. You talk
I
about.
have been to and that's the other thing. If you need to go to therapy, please go.
Amen.
Your
Yes.
mental health is important. And, there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. If I
Amen.
didn't go to therapy, I'd be in a lot worse shape than I am now.
Mhm.
Amen.
And therapy is okay.
All right. It is okay.
Medicine
Really.
is okay. If you have to take a pill, take a pill. You
Amen.
know, if you don't want to take a pill, find something else. You know, if it's meditation, if it's whatever it is, no drugs, please. That's what
Amen.
I'm saying. I'm just saying, meditation. Find some coping skills that work for you.
Mhm.
Amen. Amen.
You
It's
know,
very important.
got exercise. I do physical. I go to the gym. You know, keep yourself up. The better you feel about, and keep your mind right, please.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, do what you need to do for self.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, how can
Awesome.
our listeners and our viewers find your book and get in touch with you if they would like to?
Okay. The book is on Amazon. Um, you can. I have a website, and every time I look, I forget. But it's my website is author Wendy Eugene.com, and my email is WRB Eugene 126 at gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. And everybody out there, get the book. Get the book. We highly recommend it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this has been just a delightful evening. Alan, if you can post Ada's comment, her last comment, so we can be reading that as we get ready to close out this evening, so everybody has an opportunity to see that. Um, I tell you what, this has been a joy this evening. Ada, we thank you so much for those comments, and we're
Can we
happy.
read it for our listening
Oh,
audience?
for our other, sure, sure. She says, I really enjoyed listening to all of you, not so much as an entertainment moment, but you were so informative, transparent, and genuine, and that it's thanks to our wonderful guest.
Hmm.
Whenever I see someone with a situation like your discussion, it makes me ask
Yes.
myself, what is my excuse? Please continue doing this.
Yes.
That is the question of the hour. What is our excuse? What is it that is keeping you at a place where you are not moving forward, or you are not um, doing as much as you would like to do, or enjoying the journey as much as you could, despite the challenges, despite what's going on. Thanks, Alan. You can pull that down now. Thank you so much. um, just Wendy, what can I say? It's been a pleasure. It has truly been a pleasure. We are so happy that you wrote the book, and so happy that we had an opportunity to meet you, and that you had a chance to share your story with us, all of us here at Authors Up this evening. And Victoria's famous three words were up there a little while ago. Get the book, guys. Look,
Get the book.
we have, we have had an opportunity to meet Wendy. You've had an opportunity to hear her, but you have got to get the book and get her full story. It is
Hmm.
a wonderful, wonderful expression of just being triumphant and overcoming, and doing what it is God has called you to do. And I just thank you.
Thank
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much uh,
thank
for
you.
being with us tonight. And
I
you,
really enjoyed it. Enjoyed meeting all of you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
and hang in there for a little bit once we close out.
I
Ruth, do you have any closing comments for tonight?
Just my usual, Wendy. Thank you for joining us. If there are any listeners out there, any viewers who would like the opportunity to join us on our show, please send us an email at authorsup@gmail.com. We understand that we have viewers and listeners on lots of platforms from around the world. We just thank you. And if you want to, like I said, if you want to join us, authorsup@gmail.com.
All right. And Miss Queen Victoria, do you have any closing comments tonight?
Keep journaling out there. Everybody keep journaling, right? We got one more week or two more
Yeah,
weeks.
one more week. One
One
more
more
Well,
week.
week of journaling. Keep it up. Keep it up.
that's
You're
right.
doing good.
Next week's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk about some of those challenges. We talk about who completed the task, who completed the task. So we're looking forward to that and sharing that information with you as well. So again, Wendy, thank you so much. Thank you, listeners, for joining us this evening. Thank you for the countries that came in. We welcomed you tonight. And guess what? We're going to be right back here next week at 7 o'clock. Can you believe it?
Yep.
Right back here again. We're going to be back here again. So, for those of you new to Authors Act, come on back. Come on back and join us
Mhm.
at 7 p.m. on Sunday nights. And we have a replay on Saturday evenings at 7 p.m. So,
Yes.
anybody who, I'm sorry?
No, I was agreeing with you. So come back, listen on SIBN, or you can, we'll also be available on YouTube and on your favorite podcast.
That's right. That's right. So if you missed sharing this with somebody tonight, you can have them to come back into ALH Broadcasting and all those other different platforms
Mhm.
on Saturday evening at 7 p.m. Whatever it is, I tell you what, just kind of put the brakes on a little bit on Sunday evenings at 7. Come on back and join us. We never know exactly what's going to happen, but it's always good and you'll always enjoy it. So please come back and join us again. And that's it. That's it for us for tonight. God bless everyone. You guys have a great week. And remember, come on back because you never know what's going to happen. 7 p.m. Sunday evenings,
Good
right
night,
here.
everybody.
Authors Up.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Surprise, girls.